So let me get this straight. The Romans and the Jews killed Jesus, but the Africans are the ones that are being punished. And let me break this down so that there is clarity of understanding. I do not believe that the Jesus story is a true story, first of all. But if this story was a true story, this is how poorly this has been thought out, especially by the doctrine of the Hebrew Israelite. Because of the doctrine of the Hebrew Israelite, it clearly states that they believe, rather, that Deuteronomy 28 is speaking of the transatlantic slave trade. And in that belief, what they're saying is that the black people are being punished, and the indigenous people of the Americas are being punished because they were Israelites who walked away from the belief and the religion of Yahweh. And that Jesus was sent as an atonement sin. Now, the Hebrew Israelites don't really, some of them get into Jesus, some of them don't. So I can't put that on all of them. But that Deuteronomy 28 and the punishment is something that they preach and believe in, something that gives them some level of peace. But I want you to think about this for a second. The Romans have done nothing but prosper. The Europeans have done nothing but prosper. The Jewish people have done nothing but prosper except for that time frame where they were in Germany and in the Americas. So for about 40 years, about 30, 40 years, they had issues in those European states. But any other time, even when the British controlled the Levant, it was still, the Palestinians were still there, and the Israelites considered themselves Palestinians. It has only been since the 1940s since they have declared themselves to be just Israelites. But many of them still can show you their Palestinian passports. But the African, the indigenous American who at some point left, according to their story, the children of Shem, the children of Ham, the children of Japheth, they left and they became these children of the Americas, became the children of Africa. And yet they then began to worship other deities and other gods according to their story, even though archaeology shows that these people had their stories long before there was a Noah, long before there was a Adam. But they are the ones being punished for 400 years of slavery because they were not continuing to be Israelites. And for those who are Christians, who are not part of the Hebrew Israelite, they still have a sense that if slavery hadn't happened to their ancestors, then they wouldn't know the love of Jesus. So that was a form of punishment without them saying that it was a punishment for them worshiping Obatala and Oshun and Shango and Quetzalcoatl and so on and so forth. This God, who did not show up in these people's land, did not show up in their lives, these people who prospered in their countries, and some were enslaved, some were prospering, some had droughts, some had all kinds of things happen as the natural order of civilization. They rise and they fall. But at no point in time can you declare that the Europeans or the Hebrew people suffered for their crimes against your Jesus. It has always been just the people of color, the black people, who have suffered according to their thought process. This makes absolutely no sense. And at the end of the day, what you can really say is that every person, every society has had its ups and downs, and everyone has suffered in one way or another. Were the Irish being punished by God and being subjugated by the Brits? Were the Scottish being punished by God and being subjugated by the Brits? The Native Americans, were they being subjugated because of the punishment of their God or the punishment of some other God? What's going on here? It sounds like just man doing his man things, and that is all that it is. It's just man. Tell me what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel, and always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.